Um, now, let's see here. You also told me a story how.
I was the fastest runner in the United States Army.
That's right. Would you care to expand on why you say that, or why that was a good thing?
Well, that was just cut the question short.
Yeah.
Ask not, why not?
Yes. Now, years and years and years ago, I did a report in 7th or 8th grade, our family tree, and I got a couple of medals. They had the swastikas on them. Do you remember those medals? How'd you get them?
Oh, hell. They were laying around all over the place, I guess.
Yeah. People didn't want them apparently after.
No, heck no. Raisnik Nazi.
Yeah. Now, did you also get a weapon or something? Somebody gave you a and you ended up laying it on somebody's desk. But
oh,
tell me about
yeah.
that a little bit more.
It was issue 45, and when I was driving guys around to different sections of Germany there to be shipped home, they oh, that was how Danny got out ahead of Garrity, and I was because he lived in Minnesota, and Garrity and I was West Coast.
Okay.
And but anyway, they had issued me the belt, the holster, and an Army 45, and when I came back, I had orders. I was going home, and I went to this new sergeant that was there, and I says, I turn this into you? And he says, I don't want the damn thing. So I said, well, what am I going to do with it? And he says, that's your problem. So I walked out, and when I turned my truck in, there was nobody in the office. But they came back and found a 45.
Mr. Christensen's not going to have anything to do with that?
No way.
So, from the time that you get the orders that you're going home, do you get them in like a paper form? Maybe you get a letters?
Oh no, there's list guys going home.
How long before you were actually on the boat heading on out before?
That didn't take too long. Let's see. Maybe a week at the most. And then when we came home, I guess they had we got saw the lady out there in New York, and
That must have been a great feeling.
oh man, we all stood there, and funny, the ship just didn't go like that. And yeah, we stood there, and because there was no place for them to let us come in. So after a bit, well, you got kind of tired of looking at her, so you went down and crawled in your bunk and went to sleep. And then next morning, we were on the move, going home.
So you, when you were shipped out, you saw the lady for the last time as well, right? So
Oh,
you were
yeah.
saying goodbye and saying hello to her.
Mm-hmm.
Silly question, but did you have second guesses on whether or not you were even going to be coming home?
Oh, you damn right. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, was there like from what I understand, which may not be all that much, one of the biggest differences between the Vietnam War and World War II, not for the issue at hand, but for the soldiers, was that when you were done with your tour in World War II, there was a period of time that you kind of I won't say let it go, but you were able to just kind of sit back for a while. Whereas in the Vietnam War, your tour was up, you're on a plane, and the next 24 hours later you're at home, kind of thing. Did you find that there was a period of time where, you found out that you were going home or the war was done, so you had an opportunity to, I guess, I can't choose the right wording here, unwind, get yourself out of the moment.
Oh yeah.
To realize that finally it's over. I'm going to be going back home.
Yeah, the thing is, like you say, on a plane. Well, you weren't on any planes coming home or going over. You were on railroad.
Mm-hmm.
And well, we landed in New York and then went in, get shots and what have you. And he says, I know you guys, some of you may have some money, but there's women right outside that gate that'll sure relieve you if you go out there. I don't think there was a guy went out that gate.
That's right. Did you find that when you got home, to say that you were not a changed man is a stupid statement, but were just some things different to you when you got home? Did you appreciate things more than before? Did you find things funny before that you didn't find funny then? Any noticeable... I mean, you sure weren't the same guy.
No, that's true.
Can you tell me anything about that?
No, not really. I mean, when I got off that train in Tacoma, and I guess that's where we got off the train, and then there was a truck there to pick us up, take us to Fort Lewis, and we had, and I was able to call Grandma and tell her I was home, and I says, throw the empties out. And she came down there, and she asked me when I was getting out, and I says, well, probably tomorrow. So she came down that night, and yeah, I just crawled into bed, and over the PA system come, Corporal Christensen, your wife's out of here. So
did anybody razz you for it?
No. They were all wishing that same thing would be for them. And I went out there, and I opened the door, and Tom was standing on the seat, and he was looking at me, and Grandma says, that's your daddy. And he just come, boy.
Oh, man. That's the best.
Oh,
make it all worth it to come home safe and sound to see that.
Oh, yeah, great old feeling.
Oh,
yeah, but some of the, when, the next day when you was waiting for your discharge, you had to strip down, and they checked you for VD and what have you. And some of the guys didn't wear shorts. I had mine on. And, walked up there, and hell, here sitting two women, officers. And I don't know, but some of those guys are probably sitting still back there in Fort Lewis. But I signed my discharge. Says, would you like to sign up for the reserves? And ma'am, when I put my name on that thing, I'm out. Dismissed.
Yeah. Wonder if anybody put their names down on the reserves?
Well, you know, I don't doubt it, because see, like just like the reserves, I don't know what they get, or the National Guard, what they pull down, but you have to, you know, you're every so often for training, but the only thing was, it wasn't too long after I was out, Korea.
Exactly. So you can bet that a lot of those guys that signed up,
Yeah.
right back in the middle of it.
Boy.
So when you were, I mean, so far what we've been talking about is obviously the war's over. You're over in Europe. You're shipped over into New York. You're on a train, and then you see your wife. You're still in the gray area of civilian life and military life. So when you were your name is on the dotted line and you are out in civilian clothes, was it a tough transition? Was it like a what now, or I can't believe what I just got done with? Or
Yeah, you wonder,
about
you
that?
know, gee, what do I do now? Because do I have to continue wearing this damn uniform? But nobody told me I had to, so boy, I got out of that thing in a hurry. And but I know the guys that I ran with, they one of them anyway, he was South Pacific, and he still lived in Georgetown, so I went down there and saw him, and we heisted a few, and I remember I went into, I was still in uniform, and I had everything transferred into my money into post office money orders, and I went to the bank. No, I just went to the post office. I don't know why I didn't go to the bank, but anyway, I walked in and guys started counting the money out, and some woman standing there, and she says, "Soldier, you better get to the bank." I lay, my wife's right out there.
Yeah. No, she's with me. The bank's with me.
Yeah, right.
Did you keep in touch with any of your buddies afterwards? I mean, obviously, was it Grady?
Garrity.
Garrity. He was at your wedding anniversary.
Uh-huh.
Did you kind of drop off touch, or were you in constant communication, or?
Well, yeah, Garrity was a guy that, like Danny and I, we had to do his letter writing for him, to his wife. And I don't know whether the guy was, he wasn't illiterate, but he just hated writing. So either Danny or I'd dash off a couple lines for him. He'd tell us what to say. And, oh yeah, I kept in touch with him, but again, it wasn't he, it was Charlotte that done the writing.
Yeah.
So,
Are they still around?
no, they're dead.
Garrity, was it pretty recent after your, 50th anniversary? That was almost 15 years ago.
Yeah, well, he had, how many?
Well, what was your, you're going to make me look bad here. What was it, 62 or 63 anniversary last night?
62nd, yeah.
Okay. Whew. All right. So, 50th, 62, that's 12, almost 15. I'm not completely lost, people.
No, Garrity passed away because he had, before he could come up here to attend I had to go out here at the UW and line up in the event. See, he was on dialysis. And they told me what he had to do and what he had to bring. And so when I came back, I called him and told Charlotte what he had to bring. So, and all that was just a letter from the doctor. And but thank God he didn't have to go out there.
Yeah. What was one of the first things that you did when you got back to your family, like home?
Well, let's see. Home here, you mean?
Like
Not like left Fort Lewis, and she wanted, Grandma wanted to stop at her grandma's. So we stopped there. And then I didn't want to drive.
Why is
No,
that?
I don't know why, but I left that up to her. And let's see, what the heck did we do?
I'm sure anything that you did do was a lot better than what you used to do.
Oh, hell yeah, yeah. Didn't have to worry about nothing.
Yeah. So, difficult question. I'm not necessarily expecting you to, but if you could summarize if somebody asked you about your time in the military, your time spent in the war, your time serving your country, what you did, what you maybe didn't do, which can be taken as a positive or a negative depending on the situation. Can you give a blanket statement, just summarizing the whole thing?
Well, it's just the idea that I'm no gung-ho guy, that's for damn sure. But, you know, somebody had to do it. My mom had 2 gold stars in her window, or 2 blue stars from my brother and I. And Grandma had the 1.
Can you explain that for
Well,
people that might not understand what that is?
Well, it's just, it was a little, like, I don't know, it was a flag or what, I don't recall. But for the number of sons that you had in the military, you could put these blue stars in the middle and hang them in your front door window.
And then if they were killed in action or missing in action or what have you, then the blue turned gold?
I suppose when they had, if you got it, well, then it'd be a gold one, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, from what I read in the paper and hear on the news, the GI today is really well equipped, but I think he's getting a raw deal.
How do you mean?
Well, if you were killed in World War II, I don't know about Nam or Korea, but in number 2, your whoever your beneficiary was received $10,000. I heard on the news here the other day that it's down to 8. And hell, you can't even buy a coffin for $8 or 800, 8,000.
Either way, I mean, you would think that with inflation back in World War II, 10 grand was probably worth 100.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're cutting it down to 8?
$8,000. And some of the guys coming back, I forget, down south there someplace, they're in hospitals or barracks, hotter than the 7 hinges of hell, I guess, but there's no air conditioning, no indoor plumbing for them in the barracks, and some of them says that they've been waiting weeks for surgery.
What do you think about this whole Iraq thing? From beginning to end, for the reasons for us going to where we are right now, and what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
Well, there was one guy I heard on the news here the other morning with Dave Ross. He must have been over there, because he says the reason why, or the only way they were going to be able to eliminate this ambushes and that, is, he says, those people know nothing but fear. And he says the only way you're going to eliminate that, he says, is to go in there. If they kill one, kill some more. Yeah, but
Do you think we should have gone there in the first place for Bush's reason?
no, that's all it is money and oil.
Yeah. What do you think that's doing to the reputation of the United States for the whole world?
Oh, they think we're a bunch of bandits. They used to call us, the GIs over there, the American gangsters. Well, hell, what are they calling the United States?
Yeah.
You know, that administration, now I'll tell you, there's something that could be really improved on.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll have that opportunity in a couple of years or in a year. Hopefully we'll have that opportunity.
Oh, yeah, you tell me, boy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're home from the war and, you know, it's done. Thank goodness. Did you come home to this house? Or did you move
yes,
into?
yes,
Okay.
because Grandma's mom died when I was overseas in, I think, 1945. And she was trying to buy a house. I forget how much she was getting in allotment while I was gone per month. But she was trying to buy a house down Lower Tukwila down there. And but I guess after she passed away, her stepdad asked her if, you know, to come. No, I guess she was living right here with her mom and stepdad. And she just stayed here. And when I came home and started in working again,
And where did you start working again?
they had to give me back the same job I had when I left, down on the railroad.
Okay. So what did you do there? What did you do?
On the railroad,
Yeah.
I worked in the car department, and that's inspecting and repairing. And I went to work with a guy in the roundhouse. At that time, we had steam engines, and he taught me an awful lot. And after he retired, I got his job, and I had a helper from. He was one from World War One.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Oh man. So I'm sure you guys had a lot to talk about.
yeah.
How long were you in the railroad for? Worked for the railroad?
Let's see. Going on 18 years.
Any good times that stand out?
Going to work on the railroad? What the hell? Good time.
Besides punching the clock going out for that day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or was it just work is work, you just do
Yeah.
it and get the hell out?
Well, I know one thing. We had an overtime list, and there was 3 of us going to Fort Lewis to. Oh no, it wasn't Fort Lewis. It was a little spur line outside of the fort. Anyway, it had a hot box, and we were going down there to change the wheels, and we were damn near there, and here comes the car foreman, just racing all the way from Georgetown all the way out there, passed through the heart of Tacoma and everything, flags us down. Harry, you had a draw-by inspection on an engine. I says, they need it today? Yep, tonight, second shift. So I had to go back. And that's gravy, you know, going out like that. You're away from the.
All right. Twist my arm. So, anytime, I mean, working for the railroad, doing what you did, I'm sure it wasn't the safest job in the world.
No, well, it's safety. Safety first.
Did you ever have any experiences that were pretty hairy that you almost thought you lost it, or any times did anybody?
No, I know one time we had an engine that a freight engine. Mostly I worked on switch engines, you know, switching in the yard and that. And it had, well, on the tank part where the water and the oil went into, they had they called them elliptic springs.
Mm-hmm.
And one, let's see, on my side, yeah, there was. They called in two guys that had never worked on an engine because they were up for overtime. So myself, it was better for a guy to work by himself, you know, on something like that. And we went into overtime, and I got my side done, and those guys on the other side, they didn't know whether they were a foot or horseback. So I went over there, and I was kind of half ticked off because they didn't even know how in the hell to get the spring in. So I picked the thing up, and I was just through the last one in, and my thumb came up, and I hit the side, and I broke my thumb.
Oh.
Oh, man.
For helping somebody else out, too.
Yeah, well, yeah, those two guys, they just stood there and, you know. So finally, I don't know what the heck I done. Oh, I guess one of the machinists, because that work on the engine was mine, belonged to the car department. And so he came and had to finish it up. And the clips, when there are 4 in that nest of springs, and they're shaped kind of like a half moon.
Okay.
And you got 2 of them down the bottom and 2 on top, and then you put a wedge in it between them, and then you tap that wedge in and start springing it, and that clip was cast. And if you just hit that thing just like that, it'd break. And thank God they didn't break theirs. I didn't break mine. So
yeah, no kidding.
I got out of there. I tell you, I would. The next morning, oh, my thumb was like that, and I couldn't go to work.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, pretty soon the phone rang, and it was a mechanical foreman, and he asked me what happened, and I told him. He says, I'm going to send one of the fellows out to pick you up. He says, you come on down here and just sign your time card. He says, and just sit here, which I did.
Hey.
And the guy had to bring me home, come pick me up, take me down. My chauffeur.
Exactly. I might as well break my other thumb next time. Jeez.
Oh, geez.
So were you glad to get done with the railroad? What finally made you go from railroad to milkman? What was your reason?
Oh, let's see, where did I go? Oh, I went down to Boyne for a year, I think. And then I went on as a milkman.
What was the reason that you got out of the railroad?
That was a little, my length in there, seniority. That's what you build. And everybody down below you. Watch your back.
Yeah.
And this black guy, he was scared of the special agents. and he'd bring in his bills to me, and because he had a contract for taking out the scrap iron straps and that, and taking it over, and he could sell it. And he would give me a jug, and if he didn't have time to go down to the liquor store to buy it, he'd give me the money for it, which is fine. And I'm getting ahead of myself. There's three car foremen down there, because I was working in the office. One of them, he was the one that got me into the office. He wanted me there. So, because I could type.
Again, the typing came in useful.
You're right. And, but he was promoted to a general car foreman and was moved to Salt Lake. And this other one came, and he comes with his work boots and work overalls and all that. And I told him, I said, you could either leave that in the back of your truck or leave it at home. I said, because you're through wearing that. I said, because you have to go out and meet people, meet businesses. They'll call and want to talk to you. You have to go there, and if they want more than somebody just to look at the car and tell them whether it's safe to load, well, you have to do that. So he was happy with that. But and then the other one, he came, and he was a grouchy old fart, and he'd walk in, they were scowling all the time. And he got a promotion. And but this second one, he called the general car foreman down in Portland and told him about this bottle thing. And so then the special agents got hold of him. And they went to this black guy's house, and I guess he creamed his jeans, and he says, yeah, I give Harry money, I give Harry money. But he never explained why.
Mm.
So I guess they figured I was tipping in the till.
Oh, that sucks.
So,
After 20 plus years, or almost 20 years.
yeah. You all done, Ma?
I quit for the day.
You'd better. It's time for you to get the grub on the table.
Yes, sir.
Grandpa needs a good beating, so he thought I'd say that to you. Oh,
You might
man.
as well have a few more aches and pains. I'll beat him.
Yeah.
So, between the railroad and the milkman, you were down at Boeing?
Yeah, before I went on, I was down Boeing, and this one guy, he was kind of like a lead, a relief driver for anybody that was off. And I told him one time when I was home that I used to be a milkman, and he says, well, we're looking for drivers. He said, where'd you work? And I told him, and he says, we've set it up. Will you come to work for us? And I said, well, I don't know. And he says, think about it. Give us a try. And boy, when I came home, I told Grandma that what I was doing down there at Boeing was precision grinding, and your face is right down there against that wheel, and that light shining on that metal,
Oh, wow.
and I'd look up, and all I could see down there was just a black hole. I told Grandma, I says, I'm getting out of there where I can still see.
Oh, yeah.
So I called Vitamilk and asked them if the job was still there. And they said, yes, you go to the union. So I did.
That's cool. And how big was your run, your delivery run?
Oh, I first started from, let's see, down, about here in White Center and out towards Federal Way and around here. And then finally I got a relief job myself, relieving a regular string.
Mm-hmm.
And jobbers and regular drivers, and you had just a smidgen of authority, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this one time over, it was on the across the Lake Washington there. Oh, heck. Is there a place over there called Bridle Trails or something like that?
Sounds familiar, yes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he lived over in that area. He was the general manager. And he went home. And I don't know how long he was home, but when he went by the restaurant, he noticed that there was about 3 Vitamilk trucks sitting out there. And they were still sitting there hours afterwards. So he just went in and he told his assistant cut 3 routes. So there was 3 guys out. But I found a couple of them over here one time in not High Point, where you go up Myers Way and up into White Center.
Mm-hmm.
And their trucks is there, 2 of them. I saw them there. And I went and delivered for quite some time, came back, still there. So I walked in. I says, you guys all through? No, just buying the slot machine. I said, you better get your ass out of here and start peddling that milk. So they left.
Man.
You know, that, holy cow. Because it was either my check or Grandma's check went into the bank. We lived on 1 check. And some of those guys that, heavens to Betsy, either they had the disease of wanting to gamble or play those pinball machines, and that's crazy.
When you're living off of 1 check, it sure is.
Well, yeah, we done all right. I mean,
Yeah.
we had enough money to where we weren't wanting. We could go out, but then finally it got to the point too that, hey, we're getting older. We better start building up a little nest egg.
Yeah. So, I guess maybe I was jumping ahead as well. When you got back from being overseas, when did Vera come into the picture?
August 1947.
A couple of years after?
Right.
And were you were still at the railroad then?
Yeah.
So, now that we're, of course, just alone here talking, how did Dad like having a younger sister at first? Was he not too excited about sharing the house with a younger sibling, or was he a good older brother? Or?
Well, you know your dad. He's just a first-class tease from the word go. And that's all he'd do. And he got his sister so mad at him one time, she punched him in the back with the lead of a pencil. And I don't know whether he ever showed you that black mark on his shoulder. Yeah, that's from his sister.
I'm a loving brother. Even during the time out at your birthday, having Chinese food, they were going at it back and forth.
Yeah, I tell you.
No matter how old you get, still the same old thing, right? That's the way it is with Cindy and I as well, so I can understand that. Now, your storage, the chicken coop, you use for storage now was a running chicken coop back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
day, right?
Uh-huh.
So, tell me a little bit more about the setting as I see it now. I'm sure it was a lot different.
Oh, yeah, heavens, yeah. It was smaller in size, and this used to be your dad's bedroom. That area right there, his bed fit right in there and come right out to here.
Mm-hmm.
And this here, the window, there was a window up on the wall there. And I don't know whether it was a sliding window or what, but I don't recall. And yeah, it was yeah, I remember that when I first came home, I went out to collect the eggs, and he came along with me, and I picked the eggs out and was going to come up to the house, and let me carry him, Daddy, let me carry him. And I said, no, you'll fall down. No, I won't fall down. I said, okay, you just be careful. Hell, he didn't take 2 steps, and there it went. And I just sat there and looked down, and he was, Mama, something matter with Daddy. Thought maybe I was going to have an omelet.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have scrambled eggs today. Wasn't there a time that he played cops and robbers or something out in that coop?
Oh, heavens, yeah, Cowboys and Indians. Came home and they had busted out all the windows in there because they saw so many movies on television, busting out the windows and bang, bang. And there was my windows awful. Gee.
And he never played Cowboys and Indians again after that?
No. Well, Vera, one time I come home, just a little bitty thing, and she and the gal from next door, they were playing around there, and come here, Daddy, I want to show you something. I want you to do something for me. I went out, and here's, they had 4 stakes, and played, will you dig this out for a swimming pool for us? Jeez, you need a backhoe.
Yeah. Sure, let me go get my shovel right now. Got a few extra minutes to kill, why not?
Yeah.
I remember Cindy and I wanted to build an underground fort also, and Dad said, no problem, here are the tools.
Yeah.
So about 5 minutes later, we were like, maybe we'll have an above-the-ground fort.
Yeah.
While you were driving as a milkman,
That's an education.
tell me about that. How do you mean?
People. You get to read people pretty good. I remember the dairy at Christmas time, they always gave you a turkey and a poinsettia plant. And I told Grandma, I says, this customer, I says, they don't have anything. I says, we have a turkey. I says, I'm going to give him the turkey I get. She said, okay. So it was early morning because the turkey was still frozen and everything. I figured, well, I'll give it to him and he can. And I went there. The bastard moved out on me.
No.
Oh, me. On the milk bill.
Here you come walking in, feeling all good about yourself, the frozen turkey.
Yeah.
And they skip town on you.
Yeah, you get how people order. You know, then you knew they were going to skip. If all they ever ordered was milk, maybe on occasion a cottage cheese or something, or a pound of margarine. And when they started ordering whipping cream and butter and eggs, and I says, when are you figuring on moving? Oh, we're not moving. And came around with the bill, and pound on the door. This is over in the housing project. And another guy answered the door, and I asked those people, oh, they don't live here no more. I said, oh? I says, when they move out? Oh, the other day. I says, huh? I says, I'll stop down at the office. I stopped down at the office and I told them about it, and they said, no, there's no two families in there, and they went up and they kicked them out.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to know all the angles, I tell you. Good people, bad people. I only had one ask me if I wanted to take it out and trade. I said, well, sounds all right. I said, but two things wrong with it. One, I don't think the dairy would give me credit for it. And I said, and I know sure as hell my wife wouldn't agree with it.
Oh, is that what they were trying to trade out?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh, yeah.
That must have been whole milk, not no 2% milk, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Jeez. So tell me about the dog. I love the story, but I need to hear it.
Oh, the one that rode around the route with me?
That you're always worried about doing something to it by accident? Running it over?
Doing what?
Oh,
Oh.
or was that a different dog?
Oh, yeah, I had a dog from over in the project who rode around the route with me. And
Oh, really? Just jump on in?
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that one over there. The other one, I'd stop, and those little kids, they'd come running out, and neighbor kids as well. And especially after I wanted to move, you know, I'd tell them, you kids get away. I says, you get hurt. Oh, we won't. I finally, this one time I told the mother, I says, you better get your kids away from that truck. I says, because when I move, I says, I can't be watching the back and both sides at the same time. And they had a little old pooch, and that damn thing wanted to always run too. And once I started going, and this one time I was watching kids, and the mother evidently hadn't said nothing to them, you know. And pretty soon the kids screamed, so I hit the brakes, got out, and asked him what was the matter. You run over our dog. And I did. I took that dog from the tip of its tail to the tip of his nose. I flattened it. And I went up to the woman and I told her, I says, trying to watch your kids. I says, and I didn't see the dog. I run over it. So the kids were crying and everything. And I says, have you got a box or a gunny sack or something? I says, well, scoop it up, I said, and put it away where maybe your husband could bury it. And I scooped it up in this box, and I says, where do you want me to put it? Put it out on the compost pile.
I'm sure she was really shaken up when she lit that fire.
That's what I say, the education.
Yeah. Takes all types. Gets their own little makeshift funeral pyre or something, you know. Spark that sucker up. God. So do you have, you had a different dog that would jump in your truck with you on your routes?
Oh yeah, and he'd go with me all the time, and it was over on 4th Southwest where I used to sit under the tree, or the shade of the tree, and eat my lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And people would come walking by and Chagrin, I forget what its name was, but he'd quiet down. And when I was through with my route, I was pretty close to the home where he lived, and he'd jump out. But this one time I heading into the dairy, and he must have been scratching a flea or something. I was stopping at a stoplight, and I looked underneath it, and there he'd crawled back underneath it. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go on in first. So I went on in and emptied my truck, turned in my money, and I called him, and he thought, oh boy, this neat jumping into another pickup. So I drove him home, and I told the guy, I says, I can't have him going with me anymore. I says, he's growling at the people. I'm afraid he's going to bite somebody.
Yeah.
And yeah, people drive by, and I was driving along, and he was standing there looking at cars and everything going by, and people laugh and point at him.
How long did he buddy around with you for?
Oh, yeah, month or so.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It always makes the day go by better.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any other, I guess, work buddies along those lines? Just, you had a spider or something like that in your truck too, didn't you?
Yeah. Must have been, I guess coming on to spring or something. But the spider right up by the roof and the corner of the windshield, it spun a web. And I don't know how many days, I saw that thing up there and never saw a fly or anything on it. So this one time I was sitting there eating my sandwich, and I took a little crumb and I flipped it up there on the spider web, and it came right down to it, and just like it picked it up and was rolling it, and it spit it right back.
After 5 days of starvation, I'm going to help this guy out. And he just throws it right back at you. Thanks, but no thanks.
No blood in it.
Yeah, exactly. I can't suck that bread any drier than what it already is.
Yeah.
So for the most part, did you like your jobs?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I really did. But 1978, my whole back wouldn't do her anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Is that when you retired?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Had to. Heck, I had the manager from the South Station down here, because we were down, you know where Sunny Jim peanut butter factory was down there in South Seattle?
I believe so, vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah, it was down in that area where the substation was. They'd truck the milk down, from the north end, and he had to go with me one time. I just could not get out of that chair, that hopping in and out. I just couldn't do it.
So when you retired, that was a whole new, well, it was an end as far as your working goes, but it was a whole new beginning for you as well.
Oh yeah, April 25, because that was the end of our billing period. We go from the 1st to the 25th, and then make out the bills, and April 25, I remember that, 1978.
So, were you at another moment where you're like, well, what the hell am I going to do with myself?
Oh yeah, first couple of days, boy, that was neat. Not having to get up and go, and then finally,
you didn't mind getting up and going if you could.
Yeah.
Did you have any other jobs? I mean, railroad. Back from the war, you went to the railroad. You done with that? You went to Boeing for a little while, and then milkman. Did you have anything in between those, or was it pretty much just?
Oh, I dug holes across the street.
You worked for the cemetery as well.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they didn't have backhoes then. You done them with your back.
Oh, you dug out the hole.
I dug.
6 feet? 6 feet down?
Yeah, if, especially when it's raining and that, well then the ground was so soft, you'd be digging down, and then it'd cave in the side, and there.
Yeah, tell me about that. Did you ever have any strange?
Oh yeah, you know, you get kind of creepy feeling.
How old is that cemetery?
Oh heavens! You know, Ma?
No.
Coming up on 100 years, maybe?
Oh, it must be.
I'm sure.
Huh?
I'm sure of that.
Oh yeah. I think there's one up there that's 1800 and something.
So I'm sure that the coffins weren't all that, sturdy
Well,
back then.
these at this time they were right today. Now you see the cement boxes that they put down the hole.
Yeah.
When I was working there, it was slabs. They're about that wide, and then you made for two sides, and then the bottoms you had about squares like that, and that was the bottom, and then three for the top, and but it's still, the water would still get soaked down, and eventually, naturally, the wooden coffin was going to deteriorate.
Did you ever see anything like that?
No, the guy way down the other end down there, that is the spongiest, and that is really where the welfare people go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I first started over there, I was working with an old timer, and they had a baby burial, and that one just goes down a couple feet, so, and he says, which way's the head? And I says, hell, I don't know. He says, open it up. And I says, you open it up. I ain't gonna open it. Hey, nothing to it. And he flips it open, looks, and not me.
Yeah. Some things are left to be sacred.
Right.
When it's shut, keep it shut.
Down right.
So how long did you do that for before you were like, forget it, I'm done digging holes for them?
Whenever a dairy job came, well, I was gone.
Yeah. Got your priorities there.
Boy,
Let's
right
see, shall I
there.
dig a hole or deliver milk today?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm going to end the tape because we only have about 5 minutes left here. So, you can end the tape by making a funny face out of it, okay? Go ahead.
Making a what?
Funny face. Just look like a dork in front of the camera.
Okay, I think I told you about how the city or the county go along cutting grass, and then the horse and wagon come along, the guys with the pitchfork picking up, throwing it up in there, and then the horse would just go so far and they'd holler, oh, and the horse would stop.
Mm-hmm.
And they just took that stuff, I guess, and because up there at Jefferson Golf Links, up pretty close to the reservoir, used to be the horse barn.
Mm.
And it was a long thing too, with a lot of horses. And I guess that's where they took all that hay.
To feed the horses, probably.
Yeah.
How did this area look? I mean, from what Dad's told me, that a lot of the houses around this area were built for the soldiers coming home.
No, not for the. That was just like a housing project, wasn't it, Ma?
Yes, uh-huh.
Yeah,
Just
right
like
over
it is,
across the
like
street.
development.
Yeah, Grandma sent me a picture because when I left, there was nothing but woods over there. And then she sent me a picture, and all the woods is gone, and they were building houses, and what the hell's going on back there?
Yeah, coming home to a different world.
Yeah.
So, how about this? How about looking out and back this direction? Was it just woods again, or?
Back in there, those houses back there weren't there because that's where Tom and neighbor kids used to play. And the old guy that owned that, he had a couple of cows in there, and he was scared, I guess, the kids were going to rustle his cattle, so he run them out. But no, it was just a wire fence back there and logs that I guess they felled the trees, or else nature fell them.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a cat, Cleo. No, not Cleo. Calico. She'd have her kittens out in there, and we'd go out and we'd pick them up and bring them up into the garage in a little box, you know, with an old something to keep them warm. And damned if she wouldn't pick those cats up, the kittens, and haul them back out.
It's like, we're trying to help you out, cat. Come on.
Yeah.
Were there any times where you had too many kittens around that you had to?
Yeah, one time, and I said to myself, never again.
Yeah. With just a sack in a bucket kind of thing. Couldn't take care of them, and you didn't want them to let them just go run free.
That's like Vera saying, well, why don't you guys get another cat? There's so many strays and homeless ones that need a home. Well, this may be so, but why don't those people take them down to the pound?
Yeah.
Because it's right down there by going into your guys' place.
Absolutely. Have you guys ever thought of picking one up from the pound?
There's too much heartache.
Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, the heartache.
Yeah. Which is very understandable. I mean, when Ginger died, that was the worst.
Mm-hmm.
She was around for 17 years.
Yeah. Well, I can't get over Cleo.
Yeah.
I just can't. It's like I say, that's what she was, 17.
Yeah.
No, 19. 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that you get over it.
Huh?
I don't think you ever get over it. You just,
No.
You just deal with it in whatever way you can.
You know.
So when the kids were young, did you guys ever go on vacations or drive anywhere for the weekend, or did you guys ever do any road trips or anything like that?
Well, when I was on the railroad, my days off were Monday and Tuesday. So then, during the summertime, we'd go out to Lake Wenatchee, sometimes go fishing. And one time, had a dog, Queenie.
Mm-hmm.
And we was at the summit of Blue Pass, and we stopped, and she had to pee so bad. She was out of that car, and if we didn't scream at her and holler, she'd have gone right over the end.
Oh my God.
Oh.
When you gotta go, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Come
Yeah,
hell or
yeah.
high water, I'm peeing.
Yeah, when I was in the CCCs, I was being transferred from Wenatchee down to North Bend, and they sent a truck up from Fort Lewis, picked me up, take me down there, and the driver, he was a kind of a smart-ass hot rodder, you know. And we got up to the summit up there, and he had to go to the can, and I went in and I bought a candy bar. And we started down, and to me it just seemed like he kicked it out of gear. And at that time it was nothing but switchbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got down the bottom, I had that candy bar squished. We pulled into Fort Lewis, and I went right in, and I told in there, I said, that lunatic shouldn't be driving a vehicle. And I told him what had happened. And they sent somebody from Fort Lewis to pick that truck and him up.
Oh, wow. They just sent somebody out there.
Yeah.
Couldn't even drive it out for themselves.
No. Mm-mm.
Probably a smart thing.
Yeah, you're damn right. If he'd hit somebody or roll that thing, we'd still be rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you wonder why they don't bring the CCCs or something along like that kind of back, like what you were saying last time.
Well, there'd be a lot of these forest fires and that wouldn't be, I don't believe, and but it's all these do-gooders, ACLU, you know, involuntary servitude. So what are you doing? You're sitting them in the pokey and paying taxes to support them and baloney. I guess that's what MacArthur wanted to do, was put us all in the Army. Well, we were under the War Department, but still, we weren't, you know, packing guns or anything. And, no, I'm glad.
That could be the phone, so we're going to take a break. Let's see here. Did you, as far as vacations, did you ever go to the ocean, or did you go out of the state, or just tell me about some other family vacations that you guys did, whatever it might be about.
We'd go down to the ocean. At that time, they had individual cabins, you know, out there, and stoves in there to keep warm, because you know how it is down there at the ocean, you get cold.
Oh, yeah.
And everything, I guess, now today is all bought up in condos or apartments, but yeah, we had some good times down there. And Tom ocean fish, and he caught some fish, and well, we had a little Queenie with us, and she'd run, yeah. And then we took that long ride down to Salt Lake after that first car foreman moved down there.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back, I remember I was getting so tired of driving, and Tom says, "Well, let me drive, Dad." I says, "Okay, just keep your foot out of the carburetor."
How old was he?
When she, I don't know, 16, I guess, something like that. And I got in the back seat, and boy, it didn't take me long, and I corked down. And I woke up, and Grandma was talking kind of loud, and I looked over, and hell, he was pushing 90. I says, "Get your foot out of that." Boy, I woke up.
Yeah, absolutely. Forget the 3 cups of coffee I need. I don't need that anymore. He sure doesn't drive like that anymore.
Oh, boy.
Glued to the old speedometer, but I'm glad that I have that story, because now I can razz him a little bit.
Yeah.
So did you like listening to music? Did you have any music that you enjoyed listening to? I guess in general, it doesn't need to be way back when you were young. I mean, but any music that you like, big band, stuff like that, or?
Well, and especially music and songs that you could understand. Today you can't understand them.
Yeah.
They look like they're going to swallow the mics.
And sometimes they do.
Yeah.
But did you, as far as style goes, did you like big band type music, or?
Well, we went mainly for, because in those days they had the westerns, Grand Ole Opry and things like that.
Okay.
And oh yeah, we liked them.
That's cool.
But and then later, well, then it came Lawrence Welk.
Yeah, you still see him on the TV once
Yeah,
in a while,
oh yeah,
too.
yeah. I was telling your dad, I read the other day in the paper that for deceased entertainers, Elvis Presley, last year I guess it was, made the most, or pulled in the most money, 40 millions.
No kidding.
Yeah. So evidently there's hope for some of this generation.
Yeah, you just gotta wait until they all die, though.
No, well, no. I mean, for this generation of appreciating songs that you can understand, and not all this here, let's shack up, baby.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But then again, you have to be honest that Elvis probably sang around sang about the same stuff, but he put it in a different kind of, instead of being so blatant in the lyrics.
Well, he was, even from what you read and from what his wife said, that he was a very religious individual. They had programs here of his songs, gospel songs. And yeah, she says that he never tried to make her or anything before they were married.
That's good.
Yeah, it was. He just he loved his mother and the memory of his mother, and I guess he just figured, well, would she want me to do that?
It's a good way to think.
Yeah, damn right.
Keep you out of trouble.
Yeah.
So did you ever have any opportunities to go see anybody, any musicians that you liked or anything like that? Or did you, because, you know, we have concerts.
Oh no, I don't go for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, here's a vague question. Something that you kind of have to think about for a while, considering you have 85 years under your belt. And it can be about anything, but tell me about one of your proudest moments.
I guess when Grandma said, I'll wear you.
And why? Why was that one of your proudest moments?
Because I knew I was down. No more chasing.
Yeah. I mean, on the surface, it might be a pretty obvious answer to that question. Well, you know, why wouldn't it be a proud moment? But I mean, everybody has their own kind of reasons and behind it. Did you ever think you were going to find somebody?
The way I was chasing? No, when I walked up and knocked at that door and she came across the floor, I said, that's for me.
That's great. Well, here is...
You're repeating questions, Jason.
No.
Oh, yes, you are.
He's repeating information back to me, Grandma. All right. Well, here is the remote control. The red button starts and stops the recording.
Mm-hmm.
You're recording right now. So if
Oh.
you wanted to stop it, you just press the red button.
Uh-huh.
Now, here are two last questions. This one and this one. Okay? So I'm leaving. Go ahead and press the red button.
Push it now?
Yeah.
What would I say if I was talking to directly to my family? I would say to my children, thank you for being good kids, loving kids. And to my little spouse of 62 years, I'm glad you had me. And what would I say to my family 100 years from now? As I said previously, good God, what am I doing around here now? Goodbye. If I meet you on the other side, well, let me know how it goes over.
That's right. So did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah. Download, there's sometimes it's best not to refresh too much.
Sure. Understandable. Absolutely respect that. So, I don't know. I mean, I learned a lot just sitting here chatting with you.
Oh, fine,
Yeah.
fine.
I think it's a wonderful thing. And I really appreciate you kind of being my experiment a little bit. Because I've never done anything like this before. So,
Well, now you ought to line up your dad.
he's got nothing to say. No, I'll get him. Everybody's in line. I think that what I'll probably do is I'll
Didn't you want a beer?
have one with, I'm going to have some chili with you guys.
Oh.
I think I'll give Grandma a break for now. Even though she's going to be hit. Grandma, you're going to get hit with this.
One of these days.
One of these days. I think what I'll do is I'll probably do Grandma Lake next. And then I'm going to get Grandma after her. So. And I know Grandma, I'm going to have to buy so many more tapes because Grandma will just talk and talk and talk my ear off. So, let me see here. Are we going to do, or we're going to have chili tonight?
You have what?
We're going to have chili.